Today we're going to be looking at circles. It's the first of our conic sections that we're going to cover in this unit. So the four conic sections we're going to look at are circles, parabolas, ellipses, and hyperbolas. Now back in geometry you learned about circles, and you've seen parabolas earlier in Algebra 2. And we're going to just look at these different conic sections in just a different way. So we look at our equation for a circle. Our standard form looks something like this. X minus h, the quantity squared, plus y minus k, the quantity squared, equals r squared. In that formula, the center is hk, and the radius is r. And one of the things we're going to be asked to do is to create an equation when we're given the center and the radius. And that's what's shown in the example below. So we want to find an equation with a center of negative 4, 3, and a radius of 4. So in the equation, negative 4 would be our h value, and 3 would be the k value. And r is going to equal our 4 here. So we're going to take those values and plug them into the equation. You can see that down here on this line. So we have x minus negative 4, the quantity squared, plus y minus 3, the quantity squared, equals 4 squared. Now we're going to go ahead and square that 4, so we'll end up with 16. And in that first parenthesis where we subtract the negative 4, it will become x plus 4, the quantity squared. Since when we subtract a negative, it's like adding. So this would be our final answer. X plus 4, the quantity squared, plus y minus 3, the quantity squared, equals 16. So I wanted to try a few examples of this. On our first example, what is an equation of the circle with center 5, negative 2, and radius 8? In that situation, h would be 5, k would be negative 2, and r is going to be 8. So I'm going to replace the h, the k, and the r in the equation with these numbers. So I'll have the quantity x minus 5, that quantity squared, plus y minus negative 2, the quantity squared, equals 8 squared. So our 8 squared is going to become 64. And in that parenthesis with a y minus negative 2, we're subtracting a negative. So that's like addition, or that is addition. So we have y plus 2, the quantity squared. And our first parenthesis, nothing's going to change. So this will still be my x minus 5 in parentheses, and that quantity squared. So this here would be my final answer. Another one to try. A center of 3, negative 5, and a radius of 2. Go ahead and take a moment to pause the video and try to find this one out on your own. Okay. If you've done this correctly, we should end up with the quantity x minus 3, the quantity squared, plus the quantity y plus 5 squared, equals 4. Now remember, we're subtracting a negative, and that's where we got that plus 5 inside there from subtracting a negative 5. So this would be our final answer. Now sometimes instead of thinking of our circle as having a different center, we might think of it as a transformation, where we take a circle that's centered at the origin, or 0, 0, and we move it somewhere else on our Cartesian coordinates. Now, that movement that we make, that transformation, moving left, right, up, or down, is actually changing what our new center is, finding a new value for h and k, and so that's 0, 0. Now, when you move left or right, that goes with your x value. So if it's a negative number, I'm sorry, if you're going left, that's as if it's negative. And if you're going right, that's as if it's positive. For y, if you're going up, that's positive. If you're moving down, that's a negative direction. So let's look at this for a second. Let's say instead of being given the center, we're told that we're moving 4 units left and 3 units up. Well, 4 units left is like a center of negative 4. 3 units up, that's a positive y value, so we have a positive 3. This would be the new values for h and k, and that's what we can plug into our equation. So x minus negative 4, the quantity squared, plus y minus 3, the quantity squared, equals 9. Now, whatever we're given for our radius squared is going to stay the same. And technically, when you finish this, you can leave it as x plus 4, the quantity squared, plus y minus 3, the quantity squared, equals 9. Typically, you write it as 9 instead of 3 squared. So I wanted to try 2 examples of this. On the first example, we're given x squared plus y squared equals 1. And we're going to move that left 5 units and down 3 units. So moving left, it's like a negative 5. Down 3 units is a y value of negative 3. So that would be our h and k value. Our equation is still going to equal 1. So it's x minus negative 5, which is really x plus 5, quantity squared. And then y minus negative 3 is like y plus 3, quantity squared. And that's going to still equal 1. Now 1 and 1 squared are the same, so this does have a radius of 1. Now in part B, we're told that we're going right 2 units and up 3 units. So right 2 would be 2. Up 3 would be a positive 3. So this is our value for h and k. If we were to plug that into our equation, we would get x minus 2, quantity squared, plus y minus 3, the quantity squared, equals 9. So that 9 stays the same. Okay. Now so far we've been given the center and the radius and we found an equation. Now we're going to work backwards. We'll be given the equation and we want to find the center and the radius. So we're going to be looking to pick out what h and k and r equal. So in this particular problem, we're given this equation here. X minus 16, the quantity squared, plus y plus 9, the quantity squared, equals 144. You want to always think of what the standard form is. It's x minus a number. So if we go to pick out numbers here, the 16 is going to be our h value. And even though it says y plus 9, the quantity squared, that's like y minus a negative 9. So our k value is going to be negative 9. The right-hand side is 144. So you want to think of it as the square root of 144 when we're looking for our radius. And the square root of 144 is 12. So we get a center of 16, negative 9, and a radius of 12. Now, here's another equation. Okay, now both of these are pluses, but you want to think of it as being minus. So x minus a negative 8, quantity squared, plus y minus a negative 3, quantity squared. And we want to think of that 121 as something squared, not just 121. And the square root of 121 is 11. So I'm going to write this as 11 squared. In this format, it's a lot easier to figure out what our center is going to be and what our radius is going to be. So our center is hk, and our h is what we're subtracting from x, so that would be negative 8. And our y value, our k value, is the number we're subtracting from y, so that would be negative 3. And then, remember the right-hand side is the radius squared, so our radius here is going to be 11. So that's all of our notes for the day. I plan on posting the notes for parabolas next. And if you have any questions, send me an email, leave me a note on Google Classroom, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can to help you figure out the problems. I did post an assignment on Math Excel to go with this lesson, so you want to be working on that for this particular section. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.